This video is going to be all about doing pivot tables in Excel. This particular data set has a bunch of chickens. In fact, there are 71 of them. Their weights, the type of feed that they were given, and the type of range that they were feeding in. So, say you want to figure out how many chickens were eating a certain type of food in a certain type of range. Well, there's two variables there, so we're going to create a two-way table out of this. So the pivot table is the right way to do it. So I'm going to just click into the data. I'm going to do Insert Pivot Table. Select a range. Excel usually gets it pretty close. This is all where my data is. This time I'm going to put it in an existing worksheet. I'm just going to stick it in here, not right next to the data, but maybe a little ways away. So just highlight some area and press OK. Now, building a pivot table is a very interactive process. So it now gives you over here a bunch of checkboxes where you can check whether or not you want individual columns to be considered. So I want feed and range. Now, it usually fills things in down here. What I really want is I want the feed to be the rows, and I want the range to be the columns. Now notice how it set this up. I've got the feed down here as my rows, the range to be my columns, and I was just dragging those around. And now the values in the table, I'm just going to grab one of these two and drag it into values. And now it fills out the whole table. So now I've got 5 free-range chickens that were eating casein and 7 penned chickens that were eating casein for a total of 7 chickens that were eating casein, and so on and so forth. And this accounts for all 71 chickens. Okay, here's another example. I'm going to click into the data again. I'm going to do Insert Pivot Table, Existing Worksheet, and I'm going to put it kind of somewhere new here, so maybe right down here. Okay. Say I want to do the average weights of chickens who were getting a certain type of feed. So now let's see, I've got weight and feed. But really, I don't want the weight to be the row label. That doesn't make sense. So I'm going to pull the feed back to the rows. I'm going to pull the weight into the values. And now it's the sum of the weight. So this is if I add up the sum of all the chickens who are eating, say, casein or horse bean, I get this much weight. Well, that doesn't quite make sense. So I'm going to hit the little info button here. Let's do the average instead. So now I have the average weight of the chickens that were eating, say, casein, the average weight of the chickens that were eating horse bean, and so on and so forth.